Olá, gente, tudo bem? Eu sou a Ana Cristina e esse é mais um episódio do meu podcast Quem Menos Anda Voa. Todos bem? Então, atire a primeira mochila quem nunca consultou um guia de viagem para planejar, para organizar a sua viagem para o exterior. Eu trago aqui hoje, para o nosso podcast, o meu convidado Joel Balsam, 35 anos, jornalista, que, entre outras coisas, trabalha para o Lonely Planet, um dos guias de viagem mais conhecidos e utilizados no mundo. Então, a gente vai começar essa conversa com ele, né, sabendo como é que começou essa coisa de viajar e como ele misturou trabalho com viagem ao longo da vida dele. Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for accepting the invitation. So, tell me, how did traveling came to your life? How was it?
Sure, I didn't travel too much growing up, maybe going to different theme parks in Canada and the US with my family, but I'd always dreamed of traveling. I came from a very political family, very interested in the world, learning about Venezuelan politics and different things, reading Noam Chomsky at a young age. So I was very interested in the world, and I waited till after university to save up money, and then my first trip was actually to Bolivia.
Bolivia, oh, cool.
Yeah, as a backpacker, and I went to Bolivia, Peru, Argentina, and Brazil. So
Oh, nice.
that really got me hooked, that trip.
So you're originally from Canada?
That's right. I'm from Ottawa, the capital, and I used to live in Montreal.
Okay, and so you had this this background, in your family, in which you were interested in the world.
Yes.
That's how it starts, with curiosity, and also sometimes the travel bites you. The idea, the wish to see the world. It comes either earlier in your life or maybe when you are already a teenager or something. I have talked to my audience in previous episodes about how it came with me since I was a little child, and I wanted to see the world, speak other idioms, and see other cultures. So I guess it's how it starts to almost everybody. So something that comes very early in the family.
Sure, and something that really solidified it for me was when I went to that trip in Bolivia, and I don't know, young 20-year-old Canadian, and I get there and kind of the world is out of your hands. It's out of control. You get on this bus and you hope to survive and you hope to get into your next destination, and I did, and I made it, and I love that feeling of kind of accomplishment of, you know, making it, and now you're in a whole new place. I love that.
Cool. And you told me about your first trip. So you came to South America.
Yeah.
And started in Bolivia. And how was your impression about Bolivia and Brazil and Argentina was the other one?
And Peru.
And Peru, okay. And Peru, how did you feel? Was it different from what you thought about in the first moment? Was it a cultural shock for you?
Yeah, I didn't know anything. I originally I flew to Lima, and then I was overnight, and everyone tells you about the danger, and I used a lock to lock my backpack to my chair when I was in the airport, and then I actually couldn't undo the lock, so I had to cut it off. And then I get to the Peru and Bolivia border where you have to take a van, and everyone said, don't put your bag out of sight. And first thing I do, I have to put the bag on top of the van. And yes, but I learned Bolivia is a place, low income, situation for sure. Very proud people. There you see cholitas, the women with the hat, the bowler hats, and the dresses.
And the dress. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I went into an old silver mine, which is actually one of the places where the Spanish Empire got rich, and you still see people working there in these terrible conditions. Of course, yeah, they're kind of freelancers. They go in and they have dynamite. And they have to take the silver out and then they sell it down below. There's not much silver left, so it's not much money. But certainly was shocking. But I loved Bolivia because you could do so much for quite low amount of money for me as at least. You can go into the Amazon, which I did. There's the salt flats. There's the big city of La Paz, which is fascinating. There's like a witch market. There's all kinds of things there. It's really worthwhile.
Yeah, and when you are a backpacker, you certainly have to deal with little money and lots to do, lots to see, and the transport from one place to another. So yeah, it sounds good, starting in a place where your money was more than it would in Canada or US or something like that.
Sure. Even now, I don't like to go to places that are very expensive. I feel I'd rather get more in a place that is less.
Yeah, neither do I. I have just come from Italy, and I have to say I had to balance a bit because I have been to Lago de Como, which is quite expensive. Sure. And then I went to Lago de Garda, which is also expensive, but I stay in the hostels, so I could save a bit more of money, so I could do some trips and eat better because I like eating. I like going to restaurants. I like, if a meal it's like a sandwich or a snack. The other one, I try to go to a restaurant and eat better and choose something more typical from the place.
And the food in Italy really is better,
Yeah.
I want to be like against it, because it's so known. But when you go and you have a pasta there, you're like, damn.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Every pasta there can be delicious, And I have been to Italy a few times already, and every time I go, it's such an experience, especially gastronomic experience.
Yeah, and the different parts of the country are totally different. I'd like to go next time more south to Sicily. I've never been there.
Yeah, neither have I. It's a plan for the future. I don't know anywhere in Italy under Rome, in south of Rome. So I'm planning someday, I hope in the near future, to visit like Sicily and Napoli and all this stuff.
Yeah, me also. And also they have the volcano there.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to see the Pompeii.
Pompeii, that's the one.
Yeah. So it's a plan. It's going to happen. It took me ages to go to Greece because there was always something, less time, little money. But once I could go to Greece, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Somewhere I have to go again because there's so much to see, all the islands and things like that. Yeah. And tell me, how was it? How did Lonely Planet, the famous guide, came to your life? How did you start working for them?
I think almost for everyone, when I traveled, Lonely Planet was there in the hostels. On this first trip to Bolivia, I had it. I used it to travel. Everybody did. I didn't have a cell phone at the time. My first backpacking sounds really old, but I don't know. It wasn't that old. I mean, it was in 2012 and 2013.
Okay.
So, you have to take notes, and the Lonely Planet's really helpful. It started in the 60s, I think, with a couple traveling, and it really was a pioneer in independent travel, not being a super rich person, but being just a curious person. And if you get this book, they'll tell you where to go rather than doing a tour. And I still really like it, and I do still think it's very helpful. How did I start? I started because I was already a freelance journalist. I had actually started doing stories in Brazil. I did a story for ESPN, going to write about the Pororoca in
Amazon.
Yeah, I spent 5 days with these surfers who wanted to ride the Pororoca.
Wow.
I did a story for National Geographic Travel in Mexico about this bread that they make specifically for Day of the Dead. So,
Okay, because it's a huge part in Mexico, right?
yeah, it's really fascinating, beautiful tradition. And then after that, I met an editor randomly on another trip to West Virginia, and I asked her, how do I apply for Lonely Planet? And she said, oh, you just do an interview. So because I had that other experience, I was able to do this interview, do a test, and then they hired me in their writer pool as a freelancer. It doesn't totally work like that anymore, but that's when I started in 2018.
Nice. And yeah, I don't know, probably you know it, but here in Brazil, we used to watch on TV in the early 2000s the Lonely Planet series, where the presenter was a guy called Ian Wright, and he was funny, and he went to the most incredible places, meeting amazing people, showing people's culture and food. I remember him going to Mongolia, and there was some, let's say, some dishes that for us here in Brazil would be, no one would eat these things, but he had to accept to be kind to his guests, to his hosts, and we were like, oh, watching him eating. And once he even came to Rio de Janeiro, and it was fun because we wanted to see how he would react, to staying in Rio and going to Corcovado and taking a bus, a bus in the city, because buses are known by their speed. So he was like, oh, it's like being in an F1 car, because it was the bus driver was kind of fast. So we were that's how Lonely Planet was introduced to most part of people that didn't have the chance to travel abroad and see the guides in the hostels. So it was sort of an experience for most of us. I remember seeing Lonely Planet guides in hostels because I started traveling in 1997. So my first trip is going to be 30 years old anniversary. Wow. Next year, yes. Wow. So I remember seeing Lonely Planet. It was such a poetic name, like Lonely Planet. And I remember having a look at it. Oh, so what's to be seen here? So on. Because I used to plan the trip, and I'm talking about late 90s. I used to plan the trip, reading the newspapers, waiting for the newspaper of the day come to my door, and going to an office of the International Hosteling to see the guides of hostels all over the world, because at that time, Hostel International was the main, if not the only, chain of hostels worldwide. And then I had also to do a research in the books with the timetable of the trains. So way different from, having a TV program or even a guide, And later on, I could see in the hostels, and I even thought about buying one, but then internet was more popular. And then I started researching on Lonely Planet online, the site, the website. And later, the TV series Lonely Planet. So that's how I met, so to speak, Lonely Planet. So you started in 2018. And then you started back in Canada, or were you already living abroad? How was it?
At that time, I was pretty much fully nomadic. So I was moving and traveling all the time, doing different stories.
Okay.
I was still based in Canada and go there for the summers, but at that time in 2017, when I spent a few months living in Oaxaca, a few months living in Medellin in Colombia. And yeah, when I started The Lonely Planet, I just kind of let that roll. So my first book was Morocco, randomly.
Oh, so you have written a whole guide.
Yes, but not that one. Most of the books are shared between other writers.
Okay.
So that Morocco one probably had about 5 writers, and I did the from Tangier to the Algerian border.
I
so
see.
that included Tetuan, Chefchaouen, the Blue City. That was my first book that I started. More recently, my last book was Albania. I did the whole one.
Wow.
The first one also ever for Lonely Planet, or as far as I know, in English. So that was cool. It's a 200 page book that I did all myself. So.
And how long did you have to spend in Albania to do this guide?
Sure. Yeah, it's shorter than you think, but you understand that I have to do a lot in a day. But that was about a month, usually.
Okay.
Not more than a month, or else, because it costs money to stay at hotels every time. But you gotta. Sometimes I remember that first time in Morocco. I'm like, oh my, I can't eat at 7 restaurants in a day. Like it's a lot. Now I'm more strategic. I still visit every place, but you don't have to eat a whole meal every time. You gotta, or else it's it's unhealthy.
And now I'm curious. What about Albania? Did you like it? What could you tell about? What's the main thing or memory you have from Albania?
Yeah, I've done Albania twice now. The first book, and then it was part of the Western Balkans before. Yeah, everyone talks about Albania lately as this the next Greece or the next Italy. I don't know if that's true. I mean, it's a fascinating country with a history. I guess that's something that I'm more interested in than the beach, which is beautiful. But it was they had a dictatorship, so they were cut off from the world for many years. Before that, every empire had been there. There's Roman, and you can see ruins. So Roman and Greek, Byzantine, and then some of the cities like Berat, for example, or Gjirokastër really have this old medieval look, and it's really cool to be able to walk around that. So those are highlights for me.
Yeah, in 2024, I did a short trip. I went to Montenegro and then to Croatia, first to Montenegro. And I was considering to go to Albania too, but I haven't been driving for ages. And I had the impression from what I have seen and read in the guides, online guides, that it's the public transport's not very organized. So one should drive to go to the beaches and things like that. So because of that, I said, well, not this time, because Montenegro is easier for those who don't drive to get around.
Yeah.
So
people always say that about Albania, and I partly don't get it. I think it's can drive anywhere. That said, I have crashed 2 cars in Albania.
Really?
So maybe you should ask me.
What happened?
Well, the first time, it was both times doing the Lonely Planet with a rental car. so a lot of people know this, but Albania, everyone has Mercedes and like BMWs. That's like what you get, even when you rent. They just love those cars. There's something fishy about it for sure.
I see.
But anyway, it's low car, and I followed, I wanted to connect from Berat through the canyon all the way to Girocaster. And it seems like you go straight. If you look at Google Maps, it seems like there's a road. And I read a blog. I pulled over on the side of the road, and I looked at this blog, and it said, this is the way to go. It was not the way to go.
Oh.
And it was this rocky road with huge dips, and I'm in this small car, and I just hit a rock, and I shredded the bottom of the car.
Oh, really?
And it got, by the time I got to Girocaster, it was like leaking oil, so I had to go to a mechanic. But because there are so many of those cars, it was actually quite cheap to fix it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Relatively, but it was a very stressful situation.
Yeah, until you get to know that it's not that expensive, and all the thing about, crashing or have some damage in the car, you get really stressed.
Yeah, and it's very narrow roads there. People just stop in the middle of the road to get a coffee. They stop, get out of the car, and then they put their like blinkers on. You have to drive around, even if the road is extremely tiny. It's funny.
Ooh.
But these days, the main roads, which I didn't take, are good. Like they're beautiful highways. They've developed a lot. So.
And how many countries have you visited so far?
About 60 now.
60?
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
I don't know if you ever count like French Polynesia. It's part of France, but like Tahiti, But,
I would count it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so a bit over 60. Also, I went to like the West Bank, Palestine. Don't know if that
You've been there?
Yeah.
When?
That was a long time ago. One of my first trips ever was in 2010, I think. I went there. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I can't. You weren't already working for Lonely Planet, so it was a personal trip.
That's right. Yeah, it was. I got on a tour. It's kind of complicated, but yes, I went on a tour, and I was able to go. I mean, it's shocking to go from the Israel side, and then you have this, metal. You have to go through these like metal bars to go through. It winds, and then it's a totally different experience than the West Bank. But it was, obviously a very memorable trip.
Yeah, I have never been to. Well, actually, I have been to Middle East, but it was like a long connection in Dubai. It was like I was flying to Bali, Indonesia,
Cool.
And at that time, a volcano was erupting in. I guess it was closer to Jakarta than to Bali. I don't know exactly the position of the volcano, but it started, and all the flights had to be canceled. It was 2015.
Okay.
And all flights had to be canceled. So Australians and Chinese, they were stranded. They were stuck in Indonesia. And I was supposed to fly and spend only like 11 hours in Dubai. But when they resumed the flights to Indonesia, the schedules were completely different, and I had to spend 24 hours in Dubai. So as I was there, I decided to take a walk and see what was. I didn't like it that much because it was so artificial,
I agree. Dubai is nothing like the West Bank. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But I also have had that, or I did like a 24-hour layover there, and I didn't like it. Yeah, they're trying. It's attracting a certain kind of person. It's not me. It was really cool that I went with the guy who lived there that I met on my travels, and he was like, "Come," and he just drove me around, so I didn't have to like pay anything fancy.
Mm-hmm.
But it was very cool to see the Burj Khalifa, and he also took me to the older area.
Yeah, which is getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
It's like squeezed among the modern high buildings.
And even there, they're all about selling jewelry, you know, when
Yeah.
you walk through. So, yeah, not my favorite place.
Yeah, I remember I was like, wow, cool, I'm going to the Middle East somehow, even if it's a long connection, stopover. But I was a bit disappointed. I expected to see something more characteristic of Middle East or
Sure.
but anyway.
I've been to Jordan also. It's a bit different. And I mean, Turkey's kind of the Middle East. I've been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Morocco, it's also North Africa, but it's Middle East. I really like Morocco. So I do love that culture as well and seeing it when I can. But
Yeah, I want to go to Australia and New Zealand. I have never been to the continent. So yeah, it's a plan for the future. So many plans, you know.
Sure, I haven't been there, but yeah, I've always felt like it's similar to Canada, so I'm not as excited as I've never been to Bali, for example, or Indonesia. I haven't been as much to Asia as some people. I'm becoming more focused around here. I recently went to Guyana, which is to be fill out the South American map.
French Guyana.
The English one.
Oh, the English. Okay.
Yeah.
And what was it like? Because I'm sort of curious to go to that area, like the English one and to the French one and to Suriname, but it's expensive.
Very expensive.
Flying there is expensive.
Yeah, and weirdly there are no direct flights.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe because of that, it gets expensive. And it's not a very popular destination, so maybe there's no commercial interest in promoting tourism there.
Well, Guyana has been promoting it now. They are actually the fastest growing country in the world. They have been for the last 6 years because they found oil.
Oh, okay.
But they're attracting, that, but then they're also trying to have tourism, and it is pretty cool. It's almost completely, I think, 86% covered by forest, and very few people live there. It's a very sparsely populated place, and they have very different, distinct cultures. They have the, mostly, well, there's indigenous. They have the Afro, descendants, and then they also have Indian and Chinese descendants who came over as indentured servants after with the British, but they fully live there, thrive there. You can taste their food and the mix of all the foods and all those cultures. It's kind of got a Caribbean vibe in the city, capital city, Georgetown, whereas in other places like where I went to the south, the Savannah, the Rupununi, they are right on the border with Brazil. So they have like a ranching culture, like vaqueiros. And I actually went for lunch in Roraima.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And this thing of traveling and working, basically your work is about traveling and seeing the world. What is it like to you? Is it a dream job? It seems like a dream job for me.
Yeah, it was my dream, certainly. I think it can be. There are a lot of challenges. It is still, when I do the Lonely Planet, I really like it because I have an assignment and I can just go in and visit everything, really get to know it. It's really my challenge to be kind of, the locals are happy about what I recommend, or when the locals say, oh, you know more than I know. That's what I'm trying to do, Like I wrote about Rio. I did the Rio Lonely Planet also, and I feel like I got some places that I'm like, have you heard about that? And locals haven't it. So that's cool. But when I have to go to like pitch the stories, it's hard to convince the editors to accept, and then you don't get paid very much. So it's cool to be able to go the trips for sure, but I really want to tell interesting stories. I want them to come out there. It's annoying, it's hard sometimes to sell it. So it's not perfect, but it is very cool to be able to go to these places. Yeah.
And you mentioned the challenges. Can you be more specific about the challenges? Like, is it artificial intelligence challenge, or what could you be more specific about the challenges you have been facing in your dream job?
Sure. And this last year I have felt more of this artificial intelligence. I'm talking to more people who are using that to travel. I mean, it would be great if we could use it to travel. I still feel like there's too many errors to trust it. Also, if it's really bad at like even restaurants. I want to be like, where do I eat tonight? And it like gives me like 2 places. I don't know. Hopefully, I guess it gets better. I think there's an element of traveling as experience and someone who really went to the places. Like there's a reason why I go rather than just do it online, because I don't know if the place is open. I don't know if it's still good. Like you can't get everything from online. You need to have a trusted professional to go there. So
yeah.
At the same time, because AI made it so people aren't going to websites like Lonely Planet or other publications aren't getting the traffic, so they're not getting the money, and then they're not able to hire me, So that there is a major crisis in the travel, in journalism in general. And then you have, I think there's an element of authenticity that we need to be questioning. I think there's a lot of influencers online. We get that. And then they're fine, they're seeing the place. One, are they telling us how to go there? Not necessarily, because they're not. They might have gotten a tour, or maybe they make a pretty picture. So that's another reason why I think having Lonely Planet would be cool. Another thing is, they're paid by the place, so they're never going to say anything critical. And I really
that's true.
Lonely Planet is an outlier, and I think one of the best things about it, it's a challenge for me, but I'm not allowed to take anything for free at all. So I'm not allowed to get a hotel or a flight at all with Lonely Planet when I'm on the assignment. And I think that allows me to be critical and allows me to be free to do what I want and run around. So that is a difference between Lonely Planet and even other guidebooks. But with other publications, I have to get sponsored because they won't pay for me to go.
Yeah, and you have mentioned the influencers. Yeah, this is something that came, especially the latest years, and with the social networks and the big platforms. So you see exactly that, people that they go to the places, but they are paid, or they go and they don't really get into the culture of the place they are visiting, or they don't get in touch with real people, inhabitants, and like you did, sit down with someone and talk about what is it like living there, and what are the not only the main places to be visited, but everyday life. Because I think that traveling is about that, not only the planned, scheduled and the thing, but also open yourself to the unpredictable, be flexible to, instead of following that route. What is there in that street down there? Let me have a look, let me see, this looks delicious, let me taste it, instead of the planned, the scheduled thing about traveling. And I have the feelings that some influencers, they have this modest thing about, look at my new bag that I bought in Louis Vuitton, more than, going to places. And don't get me wrong, I think that the Tour Eiffel and other things, they are still important. It's a dream for everyone to, you see the Tour Eiffel or the Colosseum on TV or in a book, and one day you are in front of them. So it's amazing, but there's more than the cliches, and influencers sometimes they don't go further the cliche.
Yeah, there are so many influencers now that I'm sure you can find different ones for everything, right? You find some of them going to there was a trend recently where it was like boys go to like Bali, like men go to like Yemen or something,
Really?
So there are some people going like off the beaten track. So I guess to be fair to them, I think that a question and a concern I have is the ethics of journalism and trying to be somewhat of an authentic thing, because I really do see it. Yes, it's travel and it's fun, but I do think that there's a value in being critical.
Yes.
Your duty is to the readers, not necessarily to yourself getting paid from this brand or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I think there's they could add I understand that that's the way we're getting. Like we were watching these things,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, this is the way things are changing. So I just think it would be good to have some more ethics in there.
And how was Rio? How did it come to your life? How did you decide to come to live in Rio? So you've been based in Rio.
Yes.
Now, a bit in Rio and Canada. You are dividing yourself, I guess.
I'm pretty here now. I'm pretty much here now. It's been over 2 years. I think it's the best. For many years, I like to travel, but I also wondered when I went to a place what it would be like to live there. And I
see.
I did kind of always thought it was cool when I saw people that moved abroad. And so I was shopping for years. I was a bit this place, but then like, it doesn't have this. Or, I don't feel this way. So I was shopping for so many years. And I got a little tired of it because
Mm-hmm.
it feels... it's you don't have your friends around, and it's hard to make relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to pick a place, and I had been to Rio before. In that first trip, 2012, I came for Carnival. It was a pretty glorious time. I think Brazilians remember early 2013. Everyone was really happy.
Mm-hmm.
For certain political reasons, I think. But and I was like, wow, this is the best place, but I need to still see more places before I decide. And then I came back in 2018 to try and live here, and the political situation was kind of the opposite.
Yes.
Everyone was quite negative.
Yes.
And I decided maybe now is not the time. And I went to keep looking, and then the pandemic happened, and I was stuck in Montreal. I decided to buy an apartment there to make the best of it. But I had a girlfriend at the time. We broke up. Then I decided to travel again, and then here I was again, looking for a new place to live. And then I just like, what? I went on this thing called the Nomad Cruise, where I was with other digital nomads people. I thought they could be my community. They could not. But then we went to Brazil, and I was like, this is the best. I forgot. This place is the best. I've been everywhere, and there's just nothing that is like it. And now I'm here in Rio. I decided to stay, and I have not changed my mind since. It is the best place.
And I've been noticing that so many other foreigners are choosing Rio de Janeiro to live. And even I see on Instagram some of them living here and just loving it. So, yeah, maybe it's something, there's a foreign wave, people coming and living here.
I started the wave. I have some ideas. Why do you think that is? Why do you think there's so many?
I guess maybe a mixture of our. We are well known as friendly, laughing people, resilient people that don't get. I don't know if you have heard saying that even I guess it was Brazilian government said once that we are Brazilians and we never give up. So I guess that's the spirit of it. Yeah. And then and we Cariocas, we have this, and this is a positive thing. I guess. despite of all the problems we have, and they are huge problems, we can make the best of our daily life. We can get over some problems, and we make fun of everything. Sometimes it's positive because it helps us to overcome the bad situations we go through. And obviously, Rio de Janeiro, I have traveled a lot, and Rio de Janeiro is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever seen.
It's the best, yeah. It's the most beautiful city. It's a fact.
I really, and I live in Flamengo, so I can see Christ the Redeemer and the Sugarloaf, because I live close to Praia de Botafogo. So it's like, wow, this is my, I wait for my bus at the bus stop, watching both, you know? So it's, and seeing the plane coming to land in Santos Dumont Airport, which is also amazing. When you fly from Santos Dumont, it's something, wow, you go watching, things. You know, you're flying, passing by Sugarloaf, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing.
I agree. And yeah, it's just, I think the nature, and I love the culture. I think there's so much exciting things to do. As someone who's a traveler, there's so much of Rio to explore all the time. I'm often going to new parts of the city. I went to Rio Lego for last year for like a Mocidade barbecue, and I was like, wow, I don't know anything about this area. And it was cool. And then I went to Beija-Flor, and I saw the parade for the Carnaval, and I was like, that blew my mind, because the passion people there in Nilópolis have for Beija-Flor was amazing. So there's a lot of things as a traveler, and of all the things you said, I really resonated with the feeling of being welcome here. And I think that's pretty uncommon. And I had thought about living in Mexico City. There's protests against foreigners for, some understandable reasons with the Airbnb thing. Lisbon, a lot of people moving there. Oh, there's protests against there too. Europe in general has a pretty xenophobic mindset.
Yeah.
Not necessarily to me, but I really feel strongly about belonging and that everyone is accepted. And there's definitely problems with that everywhere. But in Brazil, I feel like it's not a big topic, which is nice.
Yeah, I am a bit critical about that, because we are not so welcoming to every foreigners. I tend to think that Europeans and North Americans and Canadians, and they tend to be more welcome to Brazil, to Rio de Janeiro, than people coming from Africa or from other parts of South America. But
maybe
still,
there's not many of them, I guess.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of other countries, Brazil has a very low immigration rate from everybody, so it's not like a big topic in politics, which is nice at least. But yes, you're probably right. I think Brazil can look sometimes like a paradise for abroad, but I know it's more complicated.
And last but not least, can you tell something that I know you've been traveling a lot, and except from Rio de Janeiro and Brazil, can you tell a story that you've been through and it was something amazing that you remember with love, or with a laugh in your face, or something nice that you learned from all these years traveling, and wow, this is something for my life?
Sure. Reporting that story for National Geographic in Mexico, in Oaxaca, I was walking in the market one day, and I saw the face in the bread. They bake the face of like Jesus and Mother Mary in the bread, okay. And I was like curious to find out where the faces come from, and it brought me. I went on this whole journey. I went to this one bakery that makes it. Then I went to another bakery. Then I went to this town, and I'm carrying this little face, and I'm like, who makes the face? Asking people, and then I met this family, and they like make it in their like little house, and then and that was very gratifying to be able to find it. And then I went to the cemetery where you see it in action. People are eating the bread with their ancestors, and I don't know, that was one of my best travel journalism memories, and something that always sticks with me of why I kind of do this.
Yeah, that's why I say traveling is more than just, taking a plane or a bus or a train and going somewhere and seeing something. It's you learn, you learn a lot by meeting people, talking to them, getting to know their thoughts, their feelings, their culture. It's just amazing. It's something I want to do for the rest of my life, And
I like that you focus on it. It's not just about the beach, and it's not just about the Eiffel Tower. It's about the people. That's also why I travel.
Yeah, and so, Joel, thank you so much for coming, for accepting the invitation. And I try to bring to people, to my audience, also the view of other travelers. It's because it's storytelling. My podcast is about storytelling, but I talk about things funny or not so fun that happened to me during my trips. But it's nice also to bring other people's ideas and thoughts and points of view and experiences. So thank you so much for enriching my podcast.
That's great. Thank you. Obrigado.
Obrigada.